I folded over the front and sort of had head-butted the bonnet of the taxi, but then it had pulled me back beneath it, and as I fell back, the back of my head had hit the ground and I ended up lodged in the wheel arch of the taxi. I'd suffered a severe injury to my brain because I was bleeding from my nose and my ears. I was completely non-responsive, clinging onto life. My name is David O'Mahony, and I served with the Household Cavalry, Blues and Royals Squadron for 7 years. And in 2015, I was medically discharged following a brain injury. There were moments where I was reminded of just how proud I was to be serving in the armed forces. Probably the biggest moment was trotting down the Mall behind Her Majesty's carriage for the Trooping the Colour parade. And every single minute were the proudest of my life. The 7th of October 2011 was probably the most defining moment of my life so far. We had left our barracks to go to a military boxing event at the Royal Albert Hall, and I don't remember a great deal of it. My boss at the time, who was the Corporal Major of the Blues and Royals Squadron, Martin Ireland, he had said, "Come on, David, let's head back to the barracks." And we crossed the road and I was struck by, of all things, a black taxi. And then I was put into the back of an ambulance and whisked off to the Royal London Hospital, where I stayed in an induced coma for 4 weeks. And doctors I think they had given my family very little hope. They even went as far as suggesting that the best thing to do was to switch off my life support because I had suffered such bad injuries to the brain that there was no chance that I would even come out of the coma, let alone live again. Due to the pressure building on my brain, the bleeding was so severe that it forced my brain down onto its stem. And they said, "Look, we're going to have to rush him in for surgery to take away the right-hand side of his skull. It's unlikely he'll survive the surgery, but there's nothing else we can do." As the doctors had delivered that news, they were pulling me out past the ward, past the visitors' room, and had sort of said to my family quickly, "Give him a kiss, say your goodbyes." I survived the operation. And the doctors said, "Look, it's great he survived, but the injuries are so severe that if we're able to bring him from the coma, he's going to be in a vegetative state the rest of his life." When they brought me from the coma, I woke screaming and kicking. That was all I needed, that chance to fight and survive. They had removed the right-hand side of my skull and they'd left that open. I just wanted to get back to work and prove to myself and others that nothing had changed. Yeah, I'd had this bad accident, but it wasn't anything I couldn't overcome. And so I packed a bag and went back to my barracks. My regiment could see what I was doing and they wanted to reward me for that hard work and determination. And so I was selected to march the Great Britain flag out at the opening ceremony of the Paralympics in 2012. A couple of weeks before the opening ceremony, my surgeon called and said, "David, we're ready for you to come in for reconstructive surgery." I remember when I woke up and the surgeon went to come and see me, and I'd packed all of my bags because I knew that I needed to get back. But he said, "David, you've got a massive drain hanging out the back of your head. You can't go anywhere tonight." And so they released me the next day, and I went home. I prepared my uniform and then went to the Olympic Park in London to march the flag out. I was struggling to hold on to life. At the time, I was rolled over with anxiety and depression, but I couldn't see it. And then I had a suspected seizure. I was found on the floor in my bedroom at the barracks. So I'd sat with the doctor to speak about what was going to happen next. And as a result of the seizure, he had said I would never be fully deployable as a soldier. And that was, for me, a moment where I had to accept that things were never going to be the same. And I joined the army to serve my country. And to stay in the army and have that ability taken away from me, even the thought of it made me deeply unhappy. And it was something that I wasn't sure I would be able to live with. I think losing my job and role in the military and that sense of purpose was a huge part of my decline. The accident had stripped me temporarily of everything I was and knew. By 2016, I wasn't sleeping properly and I was having panic attacks and also suicidal thoughts. After showering in the morning and putting on my bathrobe, a voice in my head would pop up and say, take the bathrobe belt and just put it around your neck to see what it would look like. And I sort of imagined myself hanging from the ceiling, wondering what it would look like as the blood drained from my face. I knew deep down that something needed to change, and I had to find the courage. When I started to do that, life burst into color again, and I created a foundation for myself to live from. And so long as that foundation is there, I'm able to live a balanced life where I prioritize my injury while still being able to achieve in day-to-day life. I don't like to think of myself as anything outside of the ordinary, but I am proud of the person I've become, my journey, and how I've navigated the ups and downs in life. If you'd like to help veterans like me, please play the Veterans Lottery.